The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Hi, area code 805. Go ahead. You're live with Trevor Loudon.
Andrea, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead. You're live with Trevor Loudon.
Yeah. Trevor, admire your work. This is Gary Wilmot, Andrea.
Hey, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hello. I'm familiar with your work, Trevor, but I must admit I have not read your books, and I will buy them. I've thought about it many times. However, you said something earlier in the program. You were talking about people that you admire as possible leaders on the conservative side. I heard you mention Cruz and Palin and Bolton. Did you mention also West?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. What about this business of presidential eligibility? Guys like West and, you know, Cruz is not being honest with the American people. He's not qualified to be president under the Constitution.
Yeah, well, and I know there are certainly doubts about that, and I'm not qualified as a constitutional lawyer to say whether he is or not. He certainly thinks he is. And
well, that's not the point. Bobby Jindal thinks he is. Santorum thought he was. Rubio thinks he is. They're being dishonest with the American people. We have to rule those people out right away.
What was Santorum's issue?
Santorum's issue that it was his father was an Italian citizen at the time of his birth.
Okay. I
have
wasn't
to
aware
have.
of that.
Pardon me? Yes.
I wasn't
Commander
aware of that. No.
Charles Kirshner did the research on it and found out about that.
Yeah, well,
quite shocking, actually.
The Constitution has to be followed, and if
that's correct.
It is proven that Ted Cruz is not eligible, well, that's the way it is.
Well, the fact of the matter is the guy in the White House right now is not constitutionally qualified, but we can't break through. The media is covering for him, and all these corrupt people that you've been describing in the government, in the Congress, in the Senate, and the House are covering for him too, which is, you know, makes me wonder what the hell is going on with our country. What you kind of answered a question that I was going to ask. Who is Obama working for? And it seems to me that you're not quite sure. But do you think that he may be being blackmailed?
I think he was put in place by basically an alliance of the Saudis and the Russians. I think
right, and don't you think he's being paid rather handsomely in overseas accounts?
Oh, well, maybe, but I don't think money is his motivation. I think power is his main motivation. I think power and ego. He wants to be president of the United Nations if he can.
Do you think that, you know, we talk about making progress in this country by voting in good people? We voted in good people in 2010, and the Republican leadership just marginalized and neutralized them, and they don't have any, they're impotent. They don't have anything to say, and then the elections are rigged.
No, that's not true. You know, without that 2010. I know that a lot of those people have proved to be disappointing, but a lot of them have not. You know, the people like Mike Lee and Rand Paul and Jim Bridenstine, there's a whole, Ted Yoho, there's a whole bunch of them who are taking a stand. And there's not enough of them, but we're a lot better off with them. You know, Justin Amash, people like that, we're a lot better off with them than without them. And
well, there is such a small minority, and they all know about the eligibility issue, and they skirt around it. They're dishonest with the people, the American people.
I'll tell you straight on the eligibility issue. I agree with you that there are huge questions about it. But if I was in the Republican Party too, I wouldn't touch it either. Because if you kicked Obama out through that eligibility issue, I'll tell you straight, there'll be riots in every major city in this country. Thousands of people would die, and you would get huge sympathy for the Democrats, and they would sweep back in and win again next time. You know, I understand your point about the Constitution, and it should be followed, but the only way that we can safely get Obama out now is to vote him out. Well, you can't because he's got his full term, but the only way you can do things is through the ballot box. To get Obama out on that technicality now, although it's legally correct, I would say, would actually cause so much damage to this country, I think it would basically drag it into civil war.
I turned him off. Gary, let me take the microphone from you. Gary, thanks a lot for the call and for bringing up that topic. It's always a hot potato, no doubt about it. We appreciate that.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.